The 1960s Batman series remains one of television's most colorful and unforgettable classics, blending campy humor, energetic action, and iconic performances that defined a generation. But behind the bright costumes and playful bam and zap moments, time has claimed several of the remarkable actors who helped bring Gotham City to life. In this tribute, we remember their unique contributions from heroic leads to scene-stealing villains and reflect on how their talent shaped the show's lasting legacy. Join us as we honor the stars who left us too soon, yet continue to live on through every adventurous, lighthearted episode. Adam West, born September 19, 1928 in Walla, Washington, became Batman Bruce Wayne in 1966 at age 38, bringing a campy deadpan charm to the Caped Crusader that made him an enduring icon. Yet off-screen, West's life was far more complicated than the polished hero he portrayed. Growing up in a family marked by economic insecurity and emotional restraint, he endured teasing for his lanky frame and a childhood stammer, developing a habit of masking self-doubt with humor and performative confidence that later translated into his trademark deadpan delivery. Professionally, the massive popularity of Batman paradoxically trapped West in Hollywood's typecasting nightmare. Despite his efforts, casting directors could see only the campy, wholesome hero, leaving him to navigate years of auditions for serious roles, commercial work, and cameo appearances that never replicated the acclaim of 1966. West also experienced the pressures of celebrity in the 1960s. Hollywood scene attending wild parties, maintaining a brief reputation as a ladies' man, and balancing the public's perception of virtue with private bouts of depression, isolation, and the frustration of a career defined by one role. He struggled to reconcile his personal identity with his public image, often reflecting on the tension between fame and personal fulfillment, and faced financial uncertainty during periods when typecasting limited his opportunities. West died on June 9, 2017 at age 88 from leukemia complications, leaving an estate of $8 million accrued from decades of voice work, fan conventions, and commercial appearances, a testament to a life that fused cultural immortality with private vulnerability, showing that even a symbol of moral certainty can wrestle with the shadowed corners of human experience. Alan Napier, born January 7, 1903 in Birmingham, England, stepped into the role of Alfred Pennyworth in 1966 at age 63, embodying the dignified, dry-witted, and quietly sardonic butler who became the emotional and moral anchor of the Batcave. Yet Napier's life was layered with aristocratic pressures, theatrical rigor, and quietly hidden personal tensions. Born into an upper-middle-class English family with connections to British politics, he was expected to uphold tradition and prestige, a childhood shaped by subtle social scrutiny, rigid expectations, and an acute sense of personal inadequacy, teaching him to conceal anxiety and vulnerability beneath a veneer of charm and wit. His career as a Shakespearean actor demanded discipline and subtlety, and the leap to the campy, colorful world of television caused tension. He openly disdained frivolity, clashed with cast members who treated Batman lightly, and rejected makeup, insisting on dignity even amid absurd scripts. While his professional achievements were considerable, his wealth remained modest, reflecting a life devoted more to craft than commerce, and he quietly endured the frustration of roles that did not satisfy his artistic ambitions. His private life, though relatively scandal-free, carried an undercurrent of solitude, professional compromise, and unfulfilled aspirations, underscoring a persistent tension between personal desire and public expectation. Napier died on August 8, 1988 at age 85 from a stroke, leaving an estate of approximately $100,000, a reflection of a career shaped by artistry rather than fortune. His Alfred remains a model of understated authority and theatrical discipline, a figure whose elegance, restraint, and wit concealed decades of private struggle, perfectionism, and the relentless demands of a life in performance. Neil Hamilton, born September 9, 1899 in Lynn, Massachusetts, portrayed Commissioner Gordon in 1966 at age 67, epitomizing Gotham's diligent, loyal lawman whose reliance on Batman reflected both procedural duty and dramatic necessity. Yet Hamilton's long career concealed decades of unspoken struggle, disappointment, and subtle scandal behind the professional mask of respectability. Raised in a family that endured financial instability and emotional rigidity, Hamilton learned early to master composure and conceal embarrassment, cultivating a professional poise that became his screen signature. As a silent film veteran and former leading man at Paramount, he experienced the stark volatility of Hollywood, from acclaim to near obscurity, and suffered the frustration of being typecast in supporting square-jawed authority roles when he had once commanded leading parts. Off-screen, Hamilton's personal life included strained family relationships, professional disappointment, and the physical limitations of chronic asthma, which hindered social engagement and added a layer of vulnerability to an otherwise stiff public image. Known for stern professionalism, he occasionally clashed with more flamboyant castmates, while rumors of private frustrations, financial caution, bordering on miserliness, and personal solitude suggested a man whose public reliability masked internal turbulence. He died on September 24, 1984, at age 85, from complications of asthma, leaving an estate of approximately $500,000, a modest sum for someone whose career spanned Hollywood's silent era to television's camp renaissance. Hamilton's legacy remains that of a disciplined, loyal figure whose life off-screen mirrored the dignified steadfastness of Commissioner Gordon, demonstrating that beneath the armor of authority lay decades of quiet struggle, fading fame, and the human cost of maintaining professional and personal integrity in an unforgiving industry. Stafford Rep, born April 26, 1918 in San Francisco, took on the role of Chief O'Hara in Batman 1966 at age 48, portraying Gotham's well-meaning but comically befuddled police chief, whose earnest loyalty and bumbling incompetence provided both comic relief and a foil to the Caped Crusader's brilliance. On-screen, his character was genial, likable, and eternally befuddled, a man whose authority was undermined by his dependence on Batman, yet whose warmth and loyalty won audience affection. Off-screen, Rep's life was far less straightforward. Born into a modest family, he endured a childhood punctuated by financial hardship and the pressures of conforming to social expectations, which instilled a quiet determination and an underlying self-doubt. His Hollywood career was a mix of character roles and near misses, frequently passing up opportunities due to typecasting, union disputes, or health setbacks, leaving him financially and emotionally strained. While not embroiled in overt scandal, Rep was known for occasional sharp-tongued remarks on set, especially when scripts changed or schedules conflicted, reflecting the stress of a career spent perpetually in supporting roles. Personal life pressures, marital strains, health anxieties, and the relentless grind of working for modest paychecks further complicated his existence, highlighting the dissonance between his cheerful on-screen persona and private frustrations. Rep's most significant professional disappointment was the inability to transition to leading roles despite talent and reliability, a limitation that left him quietly embittered and financially cautious. He passed away on November 5, 1974, at age 56 from a heart attack, leaving a modest estate valued at $500 consisting of acting residuals and real estate, reflecting a life of perseverance and dedication. A figure whose on-screen geniality belied private struggles with health, finances, and Hollywood's unrelenting demands. Madge Blake, born May 31st of 1899 in Kinsley, Kansas, assumed the role of Aunt Harriet Cooper in Batman 1966 at 67, bringing to life the sweet, maternal, and slightly nosy figure whose domestic presence offered levity amidst Gotham's chaos and softened the Batmansion's darker elements. Blake's portrayal made audiences warm to the safe, caring, and sometimes oblivious aunt, a stabilizing counterpoint to the frenetic energy of the heroes and villains. Behind this amiable facade, her life was shaped by adversity. Growing up in a financially insecure family, she faced a childhood of strict social expectations and limited resources, which instilled resilience, but also an enduring sense of isolation. Professionally, Blake contended with ageism, typecasting, and studio politics, navigating an industry that often valued youth over experience. And there were whispers that some of her roles were secured less by talent than by connections and political maneuvering within Hollywood circles, a reality that reportedly caused quiet tension with co-stars. Her health declined during filming, yet she continued to work with dedication, balancing exhaustion with the demands of an unforgiving schedule. Personal relationships were largely private, yet friends noted periods of loneliness and the quiet disappointment of seeing younger actors advance, while she remained in supporting roles, revealing a life marked by perseverance in the face of invisibility. Blake passed away on February 19, 1969, at age 69, from heart failure, leaving behind a modest estate valued around $100,000, a reflection of a career devoted to warmth, professionalism, and bringing charm to minor roles while navigating the inequities and politics of mid-century Hollywood. Yvonne Craig, born May 16, 1937 in Taylorville, Illinois, stepped into the role of Batgirl Barbara Gordon in Batman, 1967 at 30, portraying the spirited, independent librarian-turned-crime fighter whose intelligence, wit, and physical prowess brought a feminist dimension to the franchise and energized a series previously dominated by male heroes. On-screen, Craig's Batgirl was bold, clever, and capable of breaking stereotypes while endearing herself to viewers who admired her courage and charm. Off-screen, Craig's life was equally vivid, yet fraught with challenges. A former ballet dancer and Bond girl, she faced frequent typecasting and the limited roles available to women in Hollywood, coupled with financial instability during career lulls that required careful management and investment in real estate to secure her future. Romantic entanglements, rumored rivalries with co-stars, and periods of professional frustration added private stress. While later in life, she confronted breast cancer, navigating treatment and recovery with resilience. Craig's personal life reflected independence and occasional estrangement, balancing career ambitions with the costs of fame, isolation, and a male-dominated industry. Her most notable career frustration was being unable to escape the shadow of Batgirl, despite her talent and versatility, a limitation that left her publicly celebrated yet privately constrained. She passed away on August 17, 2015 at age 78 from complications of breast cancer, leaving an estate valued at approximately $5 million, derived from acting residuals and shrewd real estate investments. Her legacy endures as an icon of empowerment, intelligence, and elegance, a woman whose courage and persistence, both on screen and off, remain influential decades after her passing. Cesar Romero, born February 15, 1907 in New York City, embodied the Joker in 1966 at age 59, bringing to life a flamboyant, theatrical, and dangerously unpredictable villain whose manic laughter, exaggerated gestures, and painted mustache became iconic. The Joker captivated audiences with his charm and menace, but behind the painted smile, Romero's life was far more complex and discreetly scandalous. Raised in a socially prominent yet emotionally distant household, he grew up learning to conceal vulnerability and channel suppressed feelings into charisma, cultivating a private identity that was carefully shielded from Hollywood gossip. His career spanned decades with stints in film, television, and stage, yet he often faced frustration with typecasting, frequently offered only suave, villainous, or comedic roles, despite his dramatic range. Off-camera, he was rumored to have had numerous discreet affairs, navigating the Hollywood social scene with charm but careful secrecy, while also indulging in gambling and lavish entertaining that occasionally strained finances. Romero's personal relationships remained deliberately private with no public marriages, yet friends and acquaintances noted a penchant for extravagant social gatherings and connections to powerful industry figures. Professionally, he endured a career lull in the early 1950s after a series of box office flops, forcing him to reinvent his screen persona, ultimately culminating in his enduring success as the Joker. Romero passed away on January 1994 from pneumonia and complications of bronchitis at age 86 in Los Angeles. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at approximately $5 million, including a Hollywood Hills mansion, luxury vehicles, film memorabilia, and investments in early television syndication, preserving a legacy that fused comic brilliance with a hidden life of charm, indulgence, and discreet scandal. Burgess Meredith, born November 16, 1907 in Cleveland, Ohio, brought the Penguin to life in 1966 at age 59, crafting a performance that was urbane, cunning, and wickedly humorous with a monocle top hat and razor-sharp laugh that became indelibly associated with the character. Meredith's Penguin was both charismatic and devious, captivating viewers, while contributing a surreal sophistication to the show's campy aesthetic. Born into a working-class family that prized achievement over affection, his childhood involved strict discipline, early exposure to loss, and the constant need to mask insecurity with wit and poise. His 6-decade career as actor and director was distinguished yet turbulent. He frequently experienced financial strain, creative clashes with producers, and professional disappointments, including a canceled television pilot in the 1950s that stalled momentum and left him bitterly frustrated. Personal relationships were equally complicated. Meredith endured multiple marriages, each fraught with tension and brief durations, and rumors of affairs circulated in Hollywood circles, though he maintained a measured public persona. He was known for sharp wit that sometimes veered into cutting sarcasm on set, and colleagues occasionally found him controlling or difficult, especially when perfectionism collided with creative differences. Later life struggles included health deterioration from melanoma and Alzheimer's disease, compounding personal frustrations and professional regrets. Meredith died on September 9, 1997 at age 89 in Los Angeles. His estate was valued at $3 million, encompassing a modest home, residuals from stage and screen work, and a collection of rare theatrical memorabilia, leaving behind a legacy of brilliance, eccentricity, private turmoil, and enduring influence that belied his understated financial footprint. James O'Hara, born September 11, 1927 in Ireland, appeared as a Gotham policeman in 1966 at age 39, a minor yet credible role that added realism to the city's law enforcement depiction in a show dominated by flamboyant villains. His character was understated, grounded, and professional, offering audiences a relatable touchpoint amidst the series' hyper-stylized action. O'Hara's early life was marked by displacement, modest means, and recurrent social marginalization, shaping a reserved personality and an unyielding work ethic that carried him through decades of supporting roles in film and television. Despite his professionalism, he faced repeated setbacks, including typecasting, limited opportunities, and occasional tension with casting directors over his perceived inability to stand out, leaving him perpetually on the margins of Hollywood. Personal life challenges compounded his career struggles. O'Hara experienced brief and unstable relationships, rumors of clashes with co-stars, and dissatisfaction with his limited professional recognition. His greatest career disappointment may have been the inability to secure a recurring role of substance, which kept him in minor, often uncredited roles despite his talent and dedication. O'Hara passed away on December 3, 1992 from natural causes at age 65 in Los Angeles. His estate was modest, estimated at $100,000, reflecting a life spent in supporting parts and frugal living, including a small Los Angeles home, modest investments, and personal memorabilia. Though his public presence was minor, O'Hara's contributions lent authenticity to the series, and his life story reflects the quiet perseverance, overlooked talent, and hidden struggles of Hollywood's steadfast character actors. Frank Gorshin, born April 5, 1933 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, played the Riddler in Batman in 1966 at age 33, electrifying audiences with a manic, twitchy, and unpredictable energy that made him an instant icon of the camp era. His obsession with riddles and chaos, delivering both humor and tension to Gotham streets. Yet behind the bright lights, Gorshin's life was riddled with turbulence and contradiction. He grew up in a working-class household under the stern authority of a mother who frequently humiliated him, while the early death of his father left him navigating adolescence with insecurity and a need to mask vulnerability through performance. His career, though glittering on stage and television, was punctuated by deep personal struggles. He was notorious for heavy gambling binges that strained friendships, incessant smoking that would later ravage his lungs, and moments of volatile temperament on set, often clashing with producers or manipulating co-stars to protect his creative vision. His most dramatic professional disappointment was losing high-profile film and television opportunities due to perceived unreliability, leaving him frustrated and financially insecure despite public acclaim. Gorshin's personal life mirrored this volatility. Failed marriages, fleeting affairs, and periods of isolation, compounded by the pressure to sustain a public persona as the life of the party created a persistent tension between image and reality. Even at the height of fame, he battled addiction and mental exhaustion, rarely revealing the toll behind his gleaming smile. He succumbed to lung cancer and emphysema complications on May 17, 2005, at 72 in Los Angeles, leaving an estate valued at about $3 million, a modest sum considering the cultural footprint of his Riddler performance, symbolizing a life of brilliant excess, shadowed by private demons and unrelenting energy that few truly witnessed. Victor Buono, born February 3, 1938 in San Diego, California, became King Tut in Batman in 1966 at age 28, portraying the bombastic, delusional villain whose theatricality, grandiosity, and flamboyant gestures transformed a secondary character into a cult favorite, blending humor with an eccentric menace that audiences adored. Bono's formative years were fraught with hardship, raised by a single mother, and frequently mocked for his weight intelligence and perceived social awkwardness. He developed an early mastery of wit and performance to shield deep-seated insecurities, a skill that would define his career in Hollywood. Professionally, he navigated a treacherous studio system that was deeply homophobic and hostile to openly queer performers, forcing him to code his sexuality in public interviews and maintain a polished, witty persona, even while battling feelings of invisibility and rejection. Buono's personal life was marked by voracious appetites, both for food and attention, creating rumors of on-set clashes, obsessive control over his performance, and occasional tension with directors who challenged his artistic input. Although outwardly charming, he endured private loneliness and unfulfilled romantic desires, compounded by a relentless need for validation in a competitive and often cruel industry. His most notorious professional disappointment was being overlooked for major leading roles despite a palpable charisma and Emmy-nominated talent, leaving him oscillating between cult fame and professional frustration. Buono died of a heart attack on January 1, 1982, at 43 in Los Angeles, leaving an estate valued at approximately $1 million, a reflection of both a brief but memorable career and a life lived with audacious creativity, indulgence, and a private struggle against societal limitations, cementing his legacy as one of television's most decadently entertaining villains. David Lewis, born October 19, 1916 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, appeared as Warden Crichton in Batman in 1966 at age 50, embodying the officious, smug, and bureaucratically arrogant prison official whose self-assuredness became a recurring comedic foil, highlighting the show's satirical edge on authority and order. Lewis's childhood was far from idyllic. Raised in a modest, often unstable household, he was subjected to relentless teasing for his awkward appearance and temperament, learning to suppress emotions and project a controlled exterior, a skill that became his signature both on screen and off. Professionally, he built a steady career in soap operas like General Hospital, yet whispers of clashes with directors, subtle manipulation of colleagues, and resentment over lost opportunities were common behind the scenes, marking him as a consummate professional who could also be quietly difficult. His most significant career disappointment involved being overlooked for high-profile film roles due to typecasting, which left him confined to television character parts despite undeniable talent. Lewis's personal life reflected similar tension, a long marriage strained by work commitments, periods of estrangement from children, and a quiet, enduring loneliness punctuated decades of public performance. Later years brought typical health struggles associated with aging in Hollywood, alongside the slow fading of a once steady career. Lewis died from natural causes on December 11, 2000 at 84 in Los Angeles, leaving a modest estate of around $500,000, a figure that underscored a life built on consistency and craftsmanship rather than flamboyance, leaving behind a legacy of subtle influence and professional respect, shadowed by private challenges and a life largely conducted behind the curtain of Hollywood's public gaze. Vincent Price was born on May 27, 1911, and at age 55, he brought his signature theatrical flair to Batman in 1966 as Egghead, a villain obsessed with Egg's intellect and the meticulous orchestration of crime. Egghead's eccentricity, biting wit, and camp sophistication made him one of Gotham's most memorable villains, a character who could simultaneously amuse and unsettle viewers. Price's childhood in St. Louis was far from idyllic. Raised in a socially ambitious family with strict rules and emotional distance, he endured subtle criticisms and moments of ridicule that instilled a lifelong sensitivity to judgment and a tendency to mask vulnerability with charm and wit. His early fascination with art and literature provided an escape from these pressures, but also created tensions with his more conventional relatives. Professionally, Price navigated decades of highs and lows. He was a celebrated horror icon, yet endured typecasting disputes with directors over creative control and occasional resentment from co-stars who found his intensity and meticulous approach difficult. His personal life carried its own scandals. Late revelations of bisexuality shocked conservative admirers, while multiple marriages, affairs, and high-profile romantic entanglements added intrigue and occasional public disapproval. Price faced the deaths of close colleagues, the pressures of maintaining an elegant public image, and health challenges related to smoking and alcohol. Yet he remained intellectually vibrant, curating art collections and publishing writings that reflected his refined tastes. At his death on October 25, 1993, from lung cancer at age 82, his estate was valued at $5 million, comprising investments, property, and his art collection, leaving a legacy of cinematic brilliance intertwined with personal complexity. Daring secrecy and a life lived unapologetically at the intersection of intellect, artistry, and scandal. Anne Baxter was born on May 7, 1923, and at 43, she portrayed Olga, Queen of the Cossacks in Batman, a flamboyant villainess whose exotic flair, seductive cunning, and theatrical intensity brought a striking vitality to Gotham's rogue gallery. Olga's boldness, audacity, and unapologetic ambition mirrored Baxter's real-life persona, where charm, sophistication, and ambition often clashed with Hollywood's rigid norms. Baxter's childhood in Michigan City, Indiana, was fraught with instability, high expectations, and subtle forms of emotional neglect, which compelled her to conceal vulnerabilities behind poise and cultivated beauty while striving for perfection. Her professional life was a tapestry of triumphs and setbacks. An Oscar-winning actress, she nevertheless faced typecasting, bitter rivalries, disputes with studios over roles, and public criticism that sometimes threatened her career trajectory. One of her most significant professional disappointments involved a promising film project that was shelved due to budget cuts and studio politics, a blow that undercut her ambitions during the peak of her career. Baxter's personal life mirrored her professional turbulence. A high-profile marriage ended in a bitter divorce. She endured romantic entanglements that drew relentless media attention, and her relationships with children and peers were complicated by periods of distance and emotional strain. She also contended with illness and the gradual pressures of aging in an industry obsessed with youth and glamour, adding layers of private anxiety to her public image. Baxter passed away on December 12, 1985, from a stroke at age 62, leaving an estate of $4 million that reflected her Oscar-winning achievements and careful management of earnings. Yet behind the glamour and financial success lay the enduring shadows of personal loss, creative frustration, and a life defined by both dazzling achievement and hidden adversity. Richard Bacallion was born on January 29, 1931, and at 35, he brought to life CB, the streetwise, quick-witted henchman of Batman, a character whose brash loyalty, scheming intelligence, and rough-edged charm added grit and humor to the series' campy villains. CB's combination of humor, opportunism, and rugged realism resonated with audiences, providing a counterpoint to the more flamboyant villains and establishing Bacallion as a reliable character actor. His childhood in Watertown, Massachusetts was marked by economic hardship, familial instability, and early encounters with social ridicule, which shaped his tough exterior and ability to navigate adversity, traits that informed many of his on-screen roles. Professionally, he experienced the highs of memorable roles and the lows of typecasting, occasional marginalization, and disputes with producers over creative differences. Bacalion's early youth included brushes with the law, which he later recounted with dark humor, highlighting a rebellious streak that sometimes complicated his professional reputation. Personal life challenges included periods of financial strain, family tensions, and the emotional difficulties of sustaining a long-term acting career without the security of stardom, requiring resilience and adaptability. His most significant professional setbacks included projects that promised broader visibility but collapsed due to network politics, contractual disputes, or budgetary problems, testing his perseverance in the competitive world of television and film. Bacalion passed away on February 27, 2015 from natural causes at age 84, leaving behind an estate valued at $1 million, the result of decades of disciplined character work, modest investments and careful financial management, and a legacy as a versatile, dependable actor whose off-screen resilience mirrored the toughness and resourcefulness of the characters he portrayed. Thank you for watching as we reflected on the lives and legacies of the actors from Batman who are no longer with us. Their humor, charm, and unforgettable performances brought joy to millions and helped shape the show into a classic. While their journeys ended far too soon, their impact lives on through every scene, every laugh, and every memory they've left behind. As we honor their lives, we're reminded of how deeply television can touch our hearts. Join us next time as we look back at more stars who left us too soon, but whose stories continue to shine.